Today's Buddhist teaching is all about one evil thing. One of the most evil things that you could have ever come to think of. Something that is so evil that even the word itself sounds unsettling. And something that is so evil, it is the cause of so much pain, destruction, war, unalivings, and has been for centuries, for thousands of years, since the dawn of man. I am here to talk about the evil of greed today. Now, if you're new here, my name is Bradley Marcus. I am a Buddhist teacher and scholar and I guess influencer who talks about the teachings of the Buddha, specifically the Dhamma, and specifically the non-religious aspects to it, because as many of my followers know, Buddhism isn't always really a religion, specifically when you learn the original teachings. Instead, it's an art form. Just like martial arts is the art form of the body, Buddhism is an art form of the mind. It is beyond a philosophy even, because once you start to put this philosophy or practice, as I like to call it, into motion, you see the art form take place in your life and you begin to be the artist of your experience, of how you relate to your experience. And one of the most detrimental things to our experience, one of the most important things that causes our suffering is greed, raga, also known as raga or attachment. Another word is lobha, attachment, greed. These are Pali words that represent this word, and even those words, raga, just sounds evil. Now, something really important to explain before we dive into greed is that greed is actually a reaction. It is a reaction to stimulation, to sensation. Basically, we react with greed, and that causes our suffering. And in fact, it can even cause pain towards others. Now, when we get this greed under control, we stop taking the poison. We stop acting with ill will or intent. We start being more generous. We start being more kind. We start being better people. And so what ends up happening is we liberate ourselves from our own suffering and we stop causing pain for others, because greed is at the source of so much pain in this world. So today, that's what I'm going to continue to talk about, is how we can do that. So as I said, it is a reaction to a pleasant situation or sensation, or perhaps an unpleasant, and finally, a neutral sensation. All of these sensations can lead to greed. It's our job as humans, and it is our job as beings with consciousness to consciously decide not to react with greed. So basically, remember that your greed comes from a pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral sensation. If I experience something that is pleasant, like an ice cream cone, I may shortly after experience greed or attachment to the ice cream cone, greed for more ice cream. That is at the point where we can decide our suffering. Do we continue to have this greedy reaction to the pleasant sensation, or do we simply allow it to pass? This is the Buddhist art form that I'm speaking of here. This is the Dhamma, understanding that it will pass if we just let it. There's an old saying that when you get older, you realize that life is not about being okay all of the time. Life is not about being completely happy and joyful all the time. Life is about being okay with not being okay. So greed causes so much destruction in this world because people are not okay with not being okay. That's why they take over others' lands. That's why they hurt others. That's why they steal from others, because they are not okay with not being okay. They have this reaction. They want more because of the pleasant sensation that they receive. But the funny thing is that sensation is never satisfied, Because as soon as you think it's satisfied, you want more and more and more. So you step on others, you hurt others, you push the boundaries of a country, you unalive other people, you take from others because you always are wanting more. That attachment, that greed leads to always wanting more. So this art form that I speak of, how do we practice it? How do we let go of this greed? We practice the opposite of greed, which is generosity. Now, many, many great men and women and people across history who have developed generosity are known to be some of the greatest people in history. People like Martin Luther King Jr., people like Gandhi, people who were able to give instead of take, people who focused their entire life on giving, on helping others, as opposed to taking. Practicing this generosity takes practice as well. But once you start to do it, you see the changes. Because once you start, your brain actually changes. Your mind actually starts to transform. This happens on a biological level, on a neurological level as well. Not just on a spiritual level, but your brain starts to become more generous. This is true with neural networks. Do some research on it. The more neural networks you have, the more you can refine them. So guys, thank you again for watching this video. May you be well. Continue to practice generosity. And I will see you on the flippity flip.